o'clock on the dot. Opening roll call, please.
Right. Mrs. Cochran?
Here.
Mrs. Kuntz?
Here.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Here.
Miss Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Ray?
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse Ann Snyder from council due to illness.
I'll second.
Feel better, Ann?
Mrs. Kuntz?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Miss Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion to accept minutes from October 16th, 2023 council meeting as presented and not read, please?
I'll make the motion to accept minutes from October 16th, 2023, council meeting is presented and not read.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Miss Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Abstain.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Kuntz?
Yes.
We're looking next for a motion to accept purchase orders from October 14th, 2023 to November 3rd, 2023, totaling $1,745.84 as presented and not read, please.
I'll make a motion to accept purchase orders from October 14th, 2023 to November 3rd, 2023, totaling $1,745.84 as presented and not read.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Miss Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Kuntz?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Council. We're looking next for a motion to accept bills from October 14th, 2023 to November 3rd, 2023, totaling $502,417.22 as presented and not read, please.
I'll make a motion to accept the bills from October 14th, 2023 to November 3rd, 2023, totaling $502,417.22 as presented and not read.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Kuntz?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Miss Anderson?
Yes.
Okay, we're looking next for a motion to accept October 2023 DOPS delinquency report as presented and not read, please.
I'll make a motion to accept October 2023 DOPS delinquency report as presented and not read.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Kuntz?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Miss Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
We're looking next for a motion to accept August 2023 and September 23 bank reconciliation as presented and not read, please.
I'll make a motion to accept August 2023 and September 2023 bank reconciliation as presented and not read.
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Kuntz?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Miss Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Okay. We're next moving into the reading of ordinances and resolutions, please.
Resolution number 7309-2023, a resolution authorizing the mayor and fiscal officer to sign the loan resolution with the USDA to afford the administration, fire department, police department, community center, and service building renovations. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Lakemore, Ohio. Section 1, the mayor and fiscal officer are hereby authorized to sign the loan resolution with the USDA to afford the administration, fire department, police department, community center, and service building renovations. Section 2, a copy of the loan resolution is attached here to and made part of as the fully written herein. Section 3, this resolution is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the peace, health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the Village of Lakemore. Therefore, this resolution should take effect immediately. Resolution number 7310-2023, a resolution approving the mayor to enter into an agreement with Great Lakes Community Action Partnership. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Lakemore, County of Summit, State of Ohio. Section 1, Council approves the mayor to enter into an agreement with Great Lakes Community Action Partnership. Section 2, the agreement will become effective January 31st, 2024, and will continue in effect through January 31st, 2027. The agreement is attached here to and made part of as a fully written herein. Section 3, that is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the passage of this resolution were adopted in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council or any of its committees that resulted in such formal actions were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 4, this resolution shall take full force and effect on and after the earliest period allowed by law. Resolution number 7311-2023, a resolution authorizing the village administrator to apply for, accept, and enter into a water supply revolving loan account, or WSRLA, agreement on behalf of the village of Lakemore for planning, design, and/or construction of water facilities, and designated a dedicated repayment source for the loan. Whereas the village of Lakemore is seeking to upgrade its existing water facilities, and whereas the Village of Lakemore intends to apply for Water Supply Revolving Loan Account, WSRLA, for the planning, design, and/or construction of the water facilities, and whereas the Ohio Water Supply Revolving Loan Account requires the government authority to pass legislation for application of a loan and the execution of an agreement, as well as designating a dedicated repayment source. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Lakemore, County of Summit, State of Ohio. Section 1, Council approves the village administrator to apply for a WSRLA loan, sign all documents for, and enter into a water supply revolving loan account with the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency and the Ohio Water Development Authority for planning, design, and/or construction of water facilities on behalf of the Village of Lakemore, Ohio. Section 2, that the dedicated source of repayment will be the Water Operating Fund. Section 3, it is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the passage of this resolution were adopted in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council or any of its committees that resulted in such formal actions were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 4, this resolution is declared to be an emergency measure in the interest of the health, peace, and safety of the citizens of the Village of Lakemore. Therefore, this resolution shall take effect immediately. Resolution number 7312-2023, a resolution approving the fire chief to hire Owen Chalkruff as part-time firefighter medic with the Lakemore Fire Department. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Lakemore, County of Summit, and State of Ohio. Section 1, Council approves to hire Owen Chalkruff as a part-time firefighter medic with the Lakemore Fire Department. Section 2, Mr. Chalkruff will serve a 1-year probation. Section 3, it is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the passage of this resolution were adopted in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council or any of its committees that resulted in such formal actions were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 4 of this resolution is declared to be an emergency measure in the interest of the health, peace, and safety of the citizens of the Village of Lakemore. Therefore, this resolution should take effect immediately. Resolution number 7313-2023, a resolution approving the fire chief to hire Jacob Curran as a part-time firefighter medic with the Lakemore Fire Department. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Lakemore, County of Summit, State of Ohio. Section 1, Council approves to hire Jacob Curran as a part-time firefighter medic with the Lakemore Fire Department. Section 2, Mr. Curran will serve a 1-year probation. Section 3, it is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the passage of this resolution were adopted in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council or any of its committees that resulted in such formal actions were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 4 of this resolution is declared to be an emergency measure in the interest of the health, peace, and safety of the citizens of the Village of Lakemore. Therefore, this resolution shall take effect immediately. Resolution number 7314-2023, a resolution approving the fire chief to hire Tim Morgan as a part-time, non-technical support with the Lakemore Fire Department. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Lakemore, County of Summit, State of Ohio. Section 1, Council approves to hire Tim Morgan as a part-time, non-technical support as Special Operations Team Consultant with the Lakemore Fire Department. Section 2, Mr. Morgan will serve a 1-year probation. Section 3, it is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the passage of this resolution were adopted in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council or any of its committees that resulted in such formal actions were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 4 of this resolution is declared to be an emergency measure in the interest of the health, peace, and safety of the citizens of the Village of Lakemore. Therefore, this resolution shall take effect immediately. Resolution number 7315-2023, a resolution approving the fire chief to hire Brian Langenneck as a grant specialist with the Lakemore Fire Department. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Lakemore, County of Summit, State of Ohio. Section 1, Council approves to hire Brian Langenneck as a grant specialist with the Lakemore Fire Department. Section 2, Mr. Langenneck will earn $25 per hour when needed to help write grants for the department. Section 3, it is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the passage of this resolution were adopted in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council or any of its committees that resulted in such formal actions were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 4, this resolution is declared to be an emergency measure in the interest of the health, peace, and safety of the citizens of the Village of Lakemore. Therefore, this resolution should take effect immediately. Ordinance 1830-2023, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of $5,400,000 of bonds for the purpose of retiring an outstanding bond anticipation note issued for the purpose of constructing, renovating, and improving buildings for use as a community center, administration building, fire station, police station, and public services building, and declaring an emergency. Whereas this village council has heretofore determined to construct, renovate, and improve buildings for use as a community center, administration building, fire station, police station, and public services building as a single project, collectively the project. And whereas this village council desires to finance the project in part by issuing securities in the form of general obligation bonds under the provisions of Chapter 133 of the Ohio Revised Code, or the Act. And whereas the village fiscal officer, as fiscal officer of this municipality, has certified that the estimated life of the improvements constituting the project is at least 5 years, and has further certified the maximum maturity of such bonds as 28 years. And whereas this municipality levies a municipal income tax pursuant to Chapter 718 of the Ohio Revised Code, as the same may be amended and supplemented from time to time, the municipal income tax. And whereas this village council anticipates that principal and interest on such bonds will be paid from the general revenues of this municipality, including proceeds of the municipal income tax, or the revenues. And whereas the United States of America, acting through the Rural Housing Service, United States Department of Agriculture, or the government, has agreed to purchase such bonds upon the terms set forth herein, and in doing so has required that there be a single bond issue for all elements of the project. And whereas notes in anticipation of such bonds, the prior notes, have been issued and are subject to optional redemption or about to mature. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the Village of Lakemore, County of Summit, State of Ohio, Section 1, that it is necessary to issue bonds the bonds of the municipality in the principal sum of $5,400,000 for the purpose of paying part of the cost of the project by retiring the prior notes at or prior to their state of maturity, and paying financing costs as defined in Section 133.01 of the Act relating to such bonds under authority of the general laws of the state of Ohio, particularly the Act. Section 2, that the bond shall, 1, be issued in such principal amount for the purpose aforesaid, 2, be dated their date of initial delivery to the original purchaser thereof, and 3, be numbered from R1 upwards in order of issuance as fully registered bonds in the denominations of $100 and integral multiples thereof, provided that if the government is the owner of the bonds shall be issued as a single bond in a principal amount equal to the aggregate principal amount of the bonds from time to time. The unpaid principal amount of the bonds from time to time shall bear interest at the rate of 2 2.25% per annum, calculated on the basis of a 365-day year, and payable annually on each date principal is payable, and shall mature in annual installments on the anniversary of the first day of the month in which the bonds are initially delivered to the government, in the years and in the following respective principal amounts. November 1st, 2024, $140,500. 2025, $143,700. 2026, $147,227, $150,200. 2028, $153,600. 2029, $157,100. 2030, $160,600. 2031, $164,200. 2032, $167,900. 2033, $171,700. 2034, $175,600. 2035, $179,500. 2036, $183,600. 2037, $187,600. 2038, $191,900. 2039, $196,200. 2040, $200,700. 2041, $205,100. 2042, $209,800. 2043, $214,500. 2044, $219,300. 2045, $224,200. 2046, $229,300. 2047, $234,500. 2048, $239,700. 2049, $245,100. 2050, $250,600. 2051, $256,300. With the government purchasing all of the bonds shall be initially issued as a single bond in the initial denomination of $5,400,000, registered as to both principal and interest in the name of the United States of America, acting through the Rural Housing Service, United States Department of Agriculture, or as otherwise directed by the government. If the total par value of the bonds is not paid by the government to the municipality at the time of initial delivery of the bonds, such par value shall be advanced to the municipality in one or more installments upon request of the municipality, and interest shall accrue on the amount of each advance from the actual date of such advance. The bonds shall be callable for redemption prior to maturity at the option of the municipality, in whole or in part at any time, in inverse order of maturity, at a price equal to the principal amount to be redeemed plus accrued interest to the date of redemption. The municipality shall send notice of such optional redemption by first-class mail, postage prepaid to the registered holders of the bonds or portions thereof to be redeemed at least 30 days prior to the date of redemption. If less than all the bonds of the single maturity are to be redeemed, the selection of bonds or parts thereof to be redeemed shall be made in such manner as the municipality shall determine. Upon such redemption of less than the entire principal amount of an outstanding bond, a new bond or bonds of authorized denominations of the same maturity, and for the unredeemed principal amount, will be issued to the owner of the partially redeemed bond in exchange therefor. It is hereby determined that the issuance of the bonds upon the terms described herein, including the redemption provisions specified above, will be in the best interest of the municipality. The bond shall be designated Various Buildings Bonds Series 2023, or as may be otherwise set forth in the bonds. Section 3, that the bonds shall express upon their faces the purpose for which they are issued, and that they are issued in pursuance of this ordinance. The bond shall be in fully registered form without coupons. The bond shall bear the signature of the mayor or village administrator or a facsimile thereof, and shall bear the signature of the village fiscal officer. The final principal and interest amount of each bond shall be payable at the office of the village fiscal officer as the paying agent, registrar, and transfer agent, the paying agent and registrar, for the bonds, and all other principal and interest on the bond shall be made on each interest payment date to the person whose name appears on the 15th day preceding each interest payment date on the bond registration records, to be maintained by the paying agent and registrar as the registered holder thereof, by check or draft mailed to such registered holder at such holder's address as appears on such registration records. The bond shall not be transferable until the entire principal amount thereof has been disbursed to the municipality. Thereafter the bond shall be transferable by the registered holder thereof in person or by such holder's attorney, duly authorized in writing at the principal office of the paying agent and registrar, upon presentation and surrender thereof to the paying agent and registrar. The municipality and the paying agent and registrar should not be required to transfer any bond during the 15th day period preceding any interest payment date or the mailing of a notice of redemption, or after such bond has been selected for partial or complete redemption, and no such transfer shall be effective until entered upon the registration records maintained by the paying agent and registrar. Upon such transfer, a new bond or bonds of authorized denominations of the same maturity and for the same aggregate unpaid principal amount will be issued to the transferee in exchange therefor. The municipality and the paying agent and registrar may deem and treat the registered holders of the bonds as the absolute owners thereof for all purposes, and neither the municipality nor the paying agent and registrar shall be affected by any notice to the contrary. Section 4, that the bonds shall be the full general obligations of the municipality and the full faith, credit, and revenue of the municipality are hereby irrevocably pledged for the prompt payment of the same. Any excess fund resulting from the issuance of the bond shall be, to the extent necessary, be used only for the retirement of the bonds upon mandatory sinking fund redemption or at maturity together with interest thereon, and is hereby pledged for that such purpose. Section 5, for the purpose of providing the necessary funds to pay the interest on the bonds promptly when and as the same falls due, and also to provide a fund sufficient to discharge the bonds at maturity. During the period while the bonds run, there shall be levied upon all the taxable property in the municipality within applicable limitations, in addition to all other taxes, a direct ad valorem property tax annually in an amount sufficient to provide funds to pay interest upon the bonds as and when the same falls due, and also to provide a fund for the discharge of the principal of the bonds upon at maturity, which property tax shall not be less than the interest and sinking fund tax required by Article 12, Section 2 of the Constitution of Ohio. Said property tax shall be and is hereby ordered, computed, certified, levied, and extended upon the tax duplicate, and collected by the same officers in the same manner, and at the same time that property taxes for general purposes for each of said years are certified, extended, and collected. Such property tax shall be placed before and in preference to all other items and for the full amount thereof. In addition, so long as any of the bonds are outstanding, this village council hereby covenants on behalf of the municipality and its officials pursuant to the authorization of sections 133.05 B7 of the Act and 5705.51A5 of the Ohio Revised Code that 1. The principal of and interest on the bonds or the debt charges shall be paid from lawfully available proceeds of the municipal income tax to the extent needed to meet such debt charges. And 2, the municipality shall continue to levy and collect the municipal income tax in amounts necessary to meet such debt charges and shall appropriate annually from lawfully available proceeds of the municipal income tax such amounts as are necessary to meet such annual debt charges on the bonds to the extent not otherwise provided for. The revenues to be applied to the payment of the debt charges and the funds derived from said tax levies hereby required shall be placed in a separate and distinct fund, which shall be irrevocably pledged for the payment of the interest on and the principal of the bonds when and as the same shall fall due, provided that in each year, to the extent that the revenues or monies from other sources are available for the payment of the debt charges and are appropriated for such purpose, the amount of such aforesaid taxes shall be reduced by the amount of the revenues or such money so available and appropriated. It is hereby determined that all acts, conditions, and things necessary to be done precedent to and in the issuance of the bonds, in order to make the same legal, valid, and binding obligations of the municipality have been done, have happened, and have been performed in regular and due form as required by law, and that such issue of the bonds and the tax for the payment of their principal and interest as the same fall due and are payable do not exceed any limitations of indebtedness or taxation fixed by law. Section 6, that the bond shall be sold to the government at par and accrued interest in accordance with its offer to purchase, which is hereby accepted. The proceeds from the sale of the bonds, except as any premium and accrued interest received, shall be used to retire the prior notes, and for the purpose aforesaid and for no other purpose, and any premium and accrued interest received for such sale shall be transferred to the bond retirement fund to be applied to the payment of the principal and interest of the bonds in the manner provided by law. The mayor, the village administrator, and the village fiscal officer and other appropriate officials of the municipality are each hereby separately authorized without further action of this village council to take any and all actions and to execute such other instruments that may be necessary or appropriate in the opinion of Dinsmore and Scholl LLP, bond counsel for the bonds, in order to effect the issuance of the bonds and the intent of this ordinance. The village fiscal officer shall certify a true transcript of all proceedings and with respect to the issuance of the bonds, along with such information from the records of the municipality as is necessary to determine the regularity and validity of the issuance of the bonds. Section 7, that the village council hereby covenants that it will restrict the use of the proceeds of the bonds hereby authorized in such manner and to extent, if any, as may be necessary after taking into account reasonable expectations at the time of the debt is incurred, so that they will not constitute obligations, the interest on which is subject to federal income taxation or arbitrage bonds under sections 103B2 and 148 of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, and as amended, the code and the regulations prescribed thereunder, including any expenditure requirements, investment limitations, or rebate requirements. The village fiscal officer or any other officer having responsibility with respect to the issuance of the bonds is authorized and directed to give an appropriate certificate on behalf of this municipality on the date of delivery of the bonds for inclusion in the transcript of proceedings, setting forth the facts, estimates, and circumstances and reasonable expectations pertaining to the use of the proceeds thereof and the provisions of said sections 103B2 and 148 and regulations thereunder. The bonds are hereby designated as qualified tax-exempt obligations to the extent permitted by Section 265B3 of the Code. This Village Council finds and determines that the reasonably anticipated amount of qualified tax-exempt obligations, other than private activity bonds, which will be issued by the municipality during this calendar year, does not, and this council hereby covenants that, during such year, the amount of tax-exempt obligations issued by the municipality and designated as qualified tax-exempt obligations for such purpose will not exceed $10 million. The village fiscal officer and other appropriate officers, and any of them are authorized to take such actions and give such certifications on behalf of the municipality with respect to the reasonably anticipated amount of tax-exempt obligations to be issued by the municipality during this calendar year and with respect to such matters as appropriate under Section 265B3. Section 8, that so long as the government is the holder of any of said bonds, the municipality will comply with all applicable regulations of the government relating to the project and the bonds and with the government's Form RD 1942-47 loan resolution public bodies relating thereto adopted by the board, and 1, will acquire and maintain such insurance and fidelity bond coverage as may be required by the government, and 2, will not, among other things, defease such bonds without the prior written consent of the government. Without limiting the generality of the foregoing, so long as the government is the owner of the bonds and requires a fidelity bond, the municipality shall obtain and keep in force a fidelity bond to the extent and in the amount required by the government. Such fidelity bond shall be with a surety company approved by the government, and the government and the municipality shall be named as co-obligees in such fidelity bond, and the amount of such fidelity bond shall not be reduced without the prior written consent of the government. The municipality shall, at any and all times, and to the extent permitted by law, cause to be done all such further acts and things, and cause to be executed and delivered all such further instruments as may be necessary to carry out the purpose of the bonds and this ordinance. The provisions of this ordinance shall constitute a contract between the municipality and the holders of any of the bonds, and after the issuance of the bonds, this ordinance shall not be repealed or amended in any respect which will adversely affect the rights and interests of the bondholders, nor shall this village council adopt any law, ordinance, or resolution in any way adversely affecting the rights of the bondholders, so long as any bonds or interest thereon remains unpaid. All of the obligations set forth and covenants made under this ordinance are hereby established as duties specifically enjoined by law and resulting from an office, trust, or station upon this village council and the various officers of the municipality within the meaning of Section 2731.01 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 9, that Dismore and Scholl LLP attorneys be and are hereby retained as bond counsel to the municipality with respect to the issuance of the bonds, to prepare the necessary authorizing documents and related closing documents for the issuance of the bonds, and, if appropriate, rendering its approving legal opinion to the government in connection therewith. The mayor, the village administrator, and the village fiscal officer, and any of them are hereby authorized, alone or with others, to enter into an agreement with said firm for such services. Section 10, that the village fiscal officer is hereby directed to forward a certified copy of this ordinance to the county auditor or fiscal officer of each county in which any portion of the municipality is located. Section 11, that it is found and determined that all formal actions of this village council concerning and relating to the passage of this ordinance were passed in an open meeting of this village council, and that all deliberations of this village council and any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were in meetings open to the public in compliance with the law, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 12, that this ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure for the reason that the public peace, health, safety, and welfare of the inhabitants of the municipality require the immediate issuance of the bonds to support contracts relative to the project and allow the municipality and its citizens to receive the benefits of the project at the earliest possible time, and therefore this ordinance shall take effect immediately upon its passage. Ordinance number 1831-2023. An ordinance to amend Ordinance 1795-2022, make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Lakemore, State of Ohio, during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the Village of Lakemore, County of Summit, State of Ohio. Section 1, Council approves to increase appropriations in Street Construction Maintenance and Repair Fund 2011, $864 for Omnipro for the Sanitarium Road Project. No principal on Police Facility Fund 3102, $5,433,669 to repay the interim financing loan through Huntington Bank. Water Operating Fund 5101, $9,055.23 for the Department of Public Services Emergency Supplies. Section 2, Council approves to increase revenues in Note Principal on Police Facility Fund 3102, $5,433,669 to repay the interim financing loan through Huntington Bank. Section 3, Council approves to transfer funds from General Fund $33,669 to Note Principal on Police Facility Fund 3102 to repay the interim financing loan through Huntington Bank. Section 4, Treasury for payments from any of the foregoing appropriations upon receiving proper certificates and vouchers therefore, approved by the board or officers authorized by law to approve the same, or an ordinance or resolution of council to make the expenditures, provided that no warrants shall be drawn or paid for salaries or wages, except to persons employed by authority of and in accordance with law or ordinance. It shall be provided further that the appropriations for contingencies can only be expended upon an appeal of 2/3 vote of council for items of expense constituting a legal obligation against the village for purposes other than those covered by other specific appropriations herein made. Section 5, this ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the Village of Lakemore, Ohio. Therefore, this ordinance shall go into effect immediately.
That's quite a lot to read tonight, thank you. Okay, we're moving next into the mayor's report, and I do have a lot to report this evening. First, I would like to remind everyone that every Tuesday in November at Geo's on Canton Road here in Springfield Township, it's Give Back Tuesday, the first one of which is tomorrow. All the Tuesdays in November, the beneficiary of Give Back Tuesdays at Geo's is the Lakemore Lions Club. So we're hoping that if you're hungry, you pick Geo's, especially on a Tuesday, to dine for the benefit of the Lakemore Lions Club. Number 2 on my list, I would like to cordially invite everyone to Lakemore's annual Veterans Day ceremony. That's coming up on Veterans Day, which is the 11th of November, and that's a Saturday this year at the Memorial Triangle, and our ceremony commences promptly at 11:11 a.m. Again, Lakemore's annual Veterans Day ceremony at 11:11 a.m. on November 11th, which is Saturday, at Lakemore's Memorial Triangle. 3, I would like to announce that the Back to the 70s and 80s reunion skate party at the Springfield Lake Roller Rink is Sunday, November 12th from 6:30 to 8:30. 4, Wednesday, November 15th from 4 to close at Uncle Tito's in Springfield Township here at the Gala Commons. They are having a benefit to support the SHS band boosters. So if you are looking for someplace to go have dinner between 4 and closing of the restaurant, please go to Uncle Tito's on Wednesday, the 15th of November, and support the band. And the last item on my, excuse me, the last item on my list here is Sunday, November 19th, from 1 to 3 is the November food pantry for the Village of Lakemore, and that's at Lakemore United Methodist Church. Again, Sunday, November 19th, from 1 to 3 p.m. at Lakemore United Methodist Church. And that's all I have. We'll move on to council report. Mrs. Cochran?
All right, thank you. Springfield and Lakemore Community Channel 1023 is proud to serve our communities by providing access to local government meetings and programming and information of community events. Tune in to Spectrum Channel 1023 for recent programming. To view the current program schedule, tune into the channel, or go online to springfieldtownship.us or our Facebook page. Community members can access all current and past programming on demand via our new YouTube channel. Find it by searching Springfield Lakemore Community Channel. More community information is available from us on Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, and our blog. Please let us know of any event or activity in the Lakemore and Springfield communities that you would like to see on the community channel by contacting your government officials. Please let us know how we can best serve you. I also want to give a thanks to Councilwoman Ann Snyder, who normally reads this report, and wish her a speedy recovery with her illness. And also a thanks to Frank, Jim, and Dan for all their hard work that they always do getting all the information out. The following programs are currently running on the channel showing the date they took place. Lakemore Council Meeting, October 2nd. Village of Lakemore Plants a Tree, October 7th. Lakemore Council Meeting, October 16th. Springfield Board of Education Meeting, October 17th. And the PLCC Board of Education Meeting, October 19th. So thank you to Channel 1023. And that's it for me.
So I just wanted to thank everyone for Trick or Treat this year. It was so much fun. The weather was perfect and the village was just full of kids, and everyone it was just like old school fun. Everybody was out, and we had our event at the church, and it was a great day. And I just wanted to thank everyone that helped and volunteered or donated candy. We had a great time. Also, I got to ask you guys, it says the tree lighting is November 25th. Where are we doing that?
At our new building.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because I
It's all
wasn't
outside,
sure. Okay,
so-
all right, as
To
long
dress
as we're.
warm.
I mean, it's outside all the time.
Yeah.
but yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure before I announced it. I was like, I don't know what tree we're lighting.
Same one.
Same one. So
one.
we'll be down, and the tree lighting will be November 25th. And I think that's it.
Gosh,
Is
it's
that
so
it?
quick.
I know. I can't even believe that we're already talking about the tree lighting. That's why I'm like, what am I forgetting? We just had.
We're anticipating a carriage ride and
Oh, that was my next question.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you if
a
you were going to
horse-drawn
still do
carriage
that.
ride and
That
lots
has
of good fun
become
things.
a tradition.
Is that the Saturday after Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, yeah, it always
Do we have a time?
Always a 5.
Always at 5. Okay. There's something else. Oh, for anyone who sees us, tomorrow's voting. Get out and vote. That's it. That's all I have. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
John?
Oh, I'd just like to mention that our next council meeting will be November 20th and December 4th, each of those at 7, right here at the high school. Our next council workshops will be November 15th and November 18th at 6 p.m., and those will be held at the Lakemore United Methodist Church.
Thanks.
Alrighty,
Heather, yeah.
Springfield Cares, they're doing the Phila Cruiser.
Yes, I just wrote it down. Go ahead.
Okay, I was asking because I wanted to make sure that that was not missed.
No.
So I don't have all the information, so I'll.
Friday, Saturday, maybe?
Friday and Saturday for Lakemore. Probably Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for Springfield.
Right after Thanksgiving.
And it's, yep,
So-
Black Friday.
Yes, so the Lakemore one is at the Dollar General, and that is all day for those days. They will have the cruiser there, so you can, go in and purchase toys and Or if you don't have time for that, you can always make a monetary donation and they can purchase the toys and things like that. The other one is at the Walmart over in Springfield. They will be there with the cruiser all day as well. So I wanted to make sure that information got out. And I don't remember if, but I think it was done after the last meeting. Did I give a thank you for the bus?
I was gonna bring it up to you.
Because I didn't recall doing that, so I wanted to make sure that I got a huge thank you out to everybody that donated and brought the items for the kids at the Spartan Snack Pack. It was a wonderful turnout. It was a huge success, and I want to thank so much the Dollar General and the manager at Dollar General, Marion. He's a wonderful gentleman, always eager to help our community and things like that. So, you know, your donations will help provide, right now we're at 130 kids. We're still getting more names in and adding that to our list all the time. So as more comes in, we're looking to you know, between 140 to 150 kids, you know, by the end of the year. So, you know, so it does go for it did go for a wonderful cause. So I wanted to make sure that everybody got a thank you for donating and coming out and showing support, sharing our flyers, things like that. So, with that is all I have.
Thanks, Heather. Sam?
Cool. So, now that most of the leaves have fallen from the trees, I just want to remind everybody to not rake or blow them into the roadways or waterways. That way we can just keep the lake health as good as possible, as well as just all of the drains. And then I just want to echo what Nikki had said about voting tomorrow. Polls open at 6:30. Thank you to all the workers that are going to volunteer tomorrow up at the church. And yeah, just get out and vote.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a
They
big
close
one.
So big.
Yeah, they close at 7:30, so 6:30
Yeah.
to 7:30.
Yeah, I'll be there at 6:30 before work.
Is that it? Did you have anything? No? I just wanted to add, this was a really nice weekend. I wanted to say thank you to so many people who helped the Lakemore Lions Club Friday night Decades Dance, the 90s, go off without a hitch. It was a really nice party here in Lakemore at the Spring Lake Party Center. The next morning, there was a pretty successful free pancake breakfast with non-perishable foods being donated for Springfield Cares, and that was a really nice event. Also, Springfield Township Women's Club had their 41st annual craft show here at the high school, which was a nice event. Wow. And then Sunday at Nativity of the Lord, it was really nice to see them bring their annual spaghetti dinner back. They took a hiatus, one-year hiatus last year, but they brought it back, and it was you know, bang up business after church when we went. So I'm glad to see that back. It's a really nice weekend in the community.
Bourbon tasting.
Bourbon tasting, yes. If anyone's interested in bourbon tasting, I know Laura has, well, it's Eventbrite, so anybody can just log on to Eventbrite.
We've been sharing it
Yeah.
too.
So members of any member on the Rock the Docks, the festival committee, Rock the Docks committee for the bourbon tasting, but that's
The
Friday the
17th.
17th of November.
And it's at this senior center, which
On the
is
lake,
now
center on
called
the
the
lake.
something,
Center
Yeah.
on the lake, yeah.
Center on the Lake.
That'll be fun too, that's good. Thanks for remembering that. Anything else? Anybody?
Did you want to mention anything about Bittner?
Oh, Carol, yeah, I was at, our fire chief, a longtime fire chief's middle daughter, right, yeah, Carol Ann passed away this week. Yeah, that's sad. It's quite a bit, actually. It was probably, I think, 6 off the top of my head. Deaths in the village are very, very close this week. A sad week for a lot of people, so we want to keep a lot of our families in prayer, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Sam. Absolutely.
That's it for me.
Anything else?
Just go vote.
Yeah, go vote.
That's all I
Okay.
got.
That's it. Next, we have appearing before council. Is there anyone on the list? Do we have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Terry, you want
Okay,
to
sure.
step up onto the podium?
Thank you, I got it. I'm good. Thanks for once. All right,
Don't
Terry
worry.
Johnson, please approach the podium. There's a microphone there. State your name and reason or concern for speaking this evening? And Mrs. Cochran, would you start the timer? Just a reminder, you have 3 minutes.
Name's Terry Dodson, I live on Cromwell Road, Springfield Township, and we're here to talk about water sewer billing once again. Mr. Mayor and members of council, once again I stand before you with issues regarding the water and sewer billing. First, we have our building at 29, 21, 23, 25, 27, and 29 Mohican Boulevard. It's a 5-unit building. All 5 addresses are serviced by 1 meter located in the middle of 2925. How is it possible that the billing for all 5 units came in at different amounts of usage and different dollar amounts? It's not a NASA project. 5 addresses, 1 meter, divided by 5, applied evenly. So I'll admit the amounts are small, but there should not be any discrepancy. I'm not the only one that nitpicks these small things. A couple months ago, I got a call from Tracy M. because my check for the water bill was 3 cents short. Then we have 2932 Mohican. It was vacant from July 8th to October 25th, so 2 of the 3 months covered by this bill. It shows a negative usage of over 9,100 gallons. I'm guessing because we probably were overbilled previously. Yet we still get billed for $15 over the minimum. How can that be? All this leads to a request I've made numerous times over the years, and I'd like to have remote readers installed on all my properties, if not through the entire village. It takes the human error out of the equation, plus it eliminates the administrative nightmares that it causes me as well as the village every 3 months. I spend a tremendous amount of time and effort chasing these water meter readings and billing the tenants, etc., and I'm no longer willing to keep doing your water department's job for free. I will give you 1 more billing cycle to get this solved, and if I have to keep doing it, I'm going to start billing the village for several hours of my time of chasing after it, and I don't come cheap. Do any of you guys work for free? Finally, as I've been saying for 3 years,
All the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
All the time.
I know I do.
I do too, but anyway.
Go ahead.
I know you don't make a lot, but it ain't free.
No,
Free.
A lot of free.
a lot of free.
Finally, as I've been saying for 3 years, do the right thing, repeal the sewer rate increase, and today, the day before an election, would be a great time to start. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is old business is nothing. We have new business. Mrs. Cochran, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, most of which are related to the fire department. So would you proceed and just segue into the next one?
Okay.
And then, John, you're up after her, okay? Thank you, sir.
Alrighty. I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 7309-2023. A resolution authorizing the mayor and fiscal officer to sign the loan resolution with USDA for the administration, fire department, police department, community center, and service building renovations. But first, I'd like to dispense with the 3 reads.
A second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Coons?
Yes.
I'll second the original.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Coons?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Next, I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 7312-2023, a resolution approving the fire chief to hire Owen Chalkref as part-time firefighter medic with the Lakemore Fire Department. But first, I'd like to make a motion to dispense with the 3
I'll
reads.
second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Coons?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
I'll second the original.
Thank you.
Any discussion, council? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Coons?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Next, I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 7313-2023, a resolution approving the fire chief to hire Jacob Curran as part-time firefighter medic with the Lakemore Fire Department. But first, I'd like to make a motion to dispense with the 3 reads.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Coons?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Second the original.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any discussion, council? Roll call, please.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Coons?
Yes.
Okay, next I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 7314-2023, a resolution approving the fire chief to hire Tim Morgan as part-time, non-technical support with the Lakemore Fire Department. First, I'd like to make a motion to dispense with the 3 reads.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Coombs?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes. Second the original.
Thanks, John. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Coombs?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Okay, and last, I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 7315-2023, a resolution approving the fire chief to hire Brian Langeneck as a grant specialist with the Lakemore Fire Department. But first, I'd like to make a motion to dispense with the 3 reads.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Coombs?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
I'll second the original.
Yeah. Any discussion?
Just this, I mean, Brett has done a wonderful job getting grants, but he needs some help, and there's some wording and stuff that,
It's getting much
it's getting
harder,
really
John. It's
harder
gotten much harder.
to get them, and
And this
it
guy
takes,
is
yeah,
just for the
that's all
fire
he does.
departments, right?
is He writes grants for fire departments, and
Going through the same situation at
Yeah.
school, it's tougher now, for sure.
all the i's gotta be crossed and all the t's gotta be dotted.
Certain kind of way now. I mean, they
Yeah.
really want to see that, the professional
Right.
touch to it now, or else you just run out in the first round. So I agree, John, it's
And this will more than pay for itself with
Oh.
getting the grants.
What he's already gotten and
Come in.
everything's already paid for, you think
Right.
Oh,
about it.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's just, they raised the bar quite a bit though, for the process anyway. Anyway, yeah, thank you, perfect. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Coombs?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
That
Yes.
was liking the grant.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 7311-2023, a resolution authorizing the village administrator to apply for, accept, and enter into a water supply revolving loan account, WSRLA agreement on behalf of the village of Lakemore for planning, designing, and/or construction of the water facilities and designating a dedicated repayment source for the loan. But first, I'd like to make a motion to dispense with the 3 reads.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Coombs?
Yes.
I'll second the original.
Thanks, Heather. Any discussion, council? Roll call, please.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Coombs?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson, you're up for 2. Go ahead and take them both, please.
All right, I would like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 1830-2023, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of $5,400,000 of bonds for the purpose of retiring an outstanding bond anticipation note issued for the purpose of constructing, renovating, and improving buildings for the use as a community center, administrative building, fire station, police station, and public services building, and declaring an emergency. But first, I would like to make a motion to dispense with the 3 reads.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Coombs?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
I'll second the original.
Thanks, Sam. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Coombs?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
All right, I would like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 1831-2023, an ordinance to amend ordinance 1795-2022, make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Lakemore, State of Ohio, during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023. But first, I would like to make a motion to dispense with 3 reads.
I'll second.
Thanks, Sam. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Coombs?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes. I'll second the original.
Thank you, Laura. Any discussion, council? Heather saying no? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Strittmatter?
Yes.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
Mrs. Coombs?
Yes.
June not see a reason to go into executive session. Any updates about anything or not?
I have no reason to go into an executive session.
Okay.
I'd like to make a
I'll
motion.
make a,
Laura, can
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. Oh, my goodness.
All right.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Anderson,
yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mrs. Cochran,
Yes.
Mrs. Coombs,
Yes.
Mr. Strittmatter.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.
7:59, right under an hour.
I don't know which one is longer.